everyone. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy New Year almost. Lovely opinionated vegan evolving here. It's been a long while since I did a video, and I wanted to read something that I wrote. Today I made a meme, which is called, I'm going to pull it up on my Instagram. Probably can't see it at all. It says, should we tolerate cruelty towards humans or any other creatures? So I doubt you can see it on my screen. I don't see anything. Okay, so you know what? I wrote thoughts about that, and I really just wanted to read them. I don't know if it's going to look weird me just looking down at my phone reading, so I'm going to try, and then I might say a few additional thoughts after I read, okay? Should we tolerate cruelty toward humans or any other creatures? So many people believe that when they make choices that involve cruelty, others ought to tolerate and respect their choices, and that pointing out the cruelty is somehow disrespectful to their personal choice. Yet this mindset eliminates the creature involved in this choice when we decide to eat, wear, and be entertained by other living beings. Is it really possible that people believe that those creatures are truly irrelevant and the choice to exploit them in every fashion and manner imaginable, including torture and death, is a choice, an action that ought to be acceptable to others? Just because something is legal does not make it right. Just because you are able to do something does not mean you ought to. Just because there are millions of companies and industries supporting this cruelty does not make it okay nor tolerable. Because my loved ones still continue to support these industries and practices, I have to find ways to love and accept individuals while not being tolerant of these actions and choices. Inevitably, people feel judged. People feel that they are being alienated or looked down upon. I feel it's me, the vegan, who is alienated and looked down upon and judged. And sometimes I choose to alienate myself because it's easier than having to deal with being around all that death that people are consuming. I do not judge the people who make these choices, but questioning the actions and the acceptability of these choices, I do that. It's not easy living in a world that believes human life is the only life that really seems to matter. And then again, only certain special humans at that. So there's many, many humans on this earth that are not considered important. And when you speak against this idea and say that other creatures and ecosystems deserve respect, it threatens their habits, way of life, traditions, and profit sources. It also threatens what they, people who consume these things and profit from them, consider pleasurable, fun, enjoyable, the freedom to indulge in decadence and gluttony. Why is it so hard for people to understand that if you want to be decadent and gluttonous, go ahead. Go ahead. There's plenty of ways to do it without harming others. You can be a full-fledged junk food vegan if you want to and eat all kinds of crap you can imagine. But you don't have to kill other beings to do so, ever. Gluttony or an unhealthy lifestyle is undesirable, yet to a degree it's tolerable. A personal choice. To be overweight or cause yourself disease through your dietary choices, it is unfortunate, yet truly a personal decision. If you choose not to eat fruits, vegetables, grains, beans, legumes, and you choose to eat tons of oils, sugars, salt, other kinds of fats, that also is a choice that you can make. I might not like it or prefer it, but that's a personal choice. But harming other beings is not tolerable, ever. As well, it is completely and utterly unnecessary. It is unhealthy and brings only bad things to everyone and everything it touches, always. So this is to kind of say many vegans are thought to be so judgmental and just completely intolerant. And, you know, I know several vegetarians who consider themselves, because I guess they're in the middle, they think they're in the middle. They feel that they are more tolerant, more fun. It's easier to be entertained by them. And they're just kind of all around like, well, I won't do these certain things. I won't eat these certain creatures' bodies. But it's still okay if I, you know, consume dairy and eggs and fish. You know, I mean, to me, it almost seems like the term vegetarian has no meaning because, you know, people who label themselves with that will still eat almost, you know, everything that comes from an animal. You know, the holidays have passed and I got to enjoy it with my family, all of whom I love dearly, and none of whom are vegans. You know, I really wanted to just be with the people that I love. You know, I feel that I am on a mission in this life to connect to people who are in this transitory phase where they, for whatever their reason, whatever your reason is, that you find yourself in this new territory where you're saying to yourself, you know what, it clicks for me. I'm making that connection. I saw the dead pig and the dead turkey and maybe the dead duck, and for some people it might have been there's some dead cows, some dead kinds of fish, and, you know, crabs maybe, some dead lambs you may have seen or tasted, you know, lots of dairy, eggs, fish, dairy, meat, all kinds of seafood that people have chosen to consume and eat and celebrate with and to make and to buy and to share. And, you know, maybe you're eating meat right now. Maybe you're eating a cheeseburger with bacon and, you know, everything. And you're watching this and you're laughing because I'm a stupid vegan and I'm judging and I think I'm better than you because, you know, cruelty should not be tolerated. But I think the message is like this slogan that I'm looking at on my wall, which is basically one of my things. It says, be nice to all people all the time. You know, it's like that low junk slogan that says, be grateful to everyone. You know, so when I see the meat eating or the dairy eating or the egg and the fish eating people, and they just look at me sometimes like I'm this wackadoodle, whack job, whoops-a-daisy, crazy lady who has like 3 heads and is just like so weird, because I think it's really cruel to have animals that are bred into existence purely to be enslaved and exploited so that their bodies can be, so that their life can be killed, like that they can be killed and chopped up and every inch of their body will be used for something. And it just kills me, you know. So today I shared a post on Facebook that James Aspey, the Australian vegan activist, speaker, beautiful soul guy, had posted, and it was basically a picture, a fake picture, like a photoshopped type photo of a puppy laying in a platter of food, and it was, you know, looked like it was sleeping. Very adorable, beautiful puppy. And then the back half of it, hindquarters, was sliced and looked exactly like roast beef, you know, with the very pink middle, and it says, you know, I don't remember exactly verbatim what it said, but it basically, the gist of it was, this is probably unacceptable to anyone who's going to view it. But why is it acceptable if it's a cow, a pig, a chicken, or a fish, or any other living creature, you know, duck, rabbit, deer, I don't know, octopus. I mean, people think of all kinds of animals to eat for whatever reason. I don't know. And it's okay, you know. So I posted that, and then one of my friends who's a dog lover wrote a comment, "Ew, that's too graphic." And I wrote, "Well, that's what all meat looks like to me." And she replied, "To you, but that's a dog. That's just too much, you know." And so it made me ask her several things, and I'm looking on my phone so I can get to the comment that I made. But one of the comments that I made was that that's kind of the point. You know, the point is to show people who would be disgusted by a puppy being eaten. It's going to invoke that feeling in you that vegans feel when they see any animal, because we finally made that connection, and we finally understand that there is something very similar from a pig and a cow and a dog and a chicken and a fish. And what sense does it make? What's the logic there between it's acceptable for you to eat that pig and that cow and that chicken and that fish, and when I'm sitting there next to you and I'm basically feeling the horror that you would feel if I were doing that to a puppy dog, and I expected you to sit there and watch me eat this puppy dog and expect you to not only just be cool with it, but, you know, respect my choices, not say anything like, how could you be eating a puppy dog right now? You know, but because you're choosing to eat these other animals that you've been told by your society are acceptable, and in some places that puppy dog is acceptable to eat. And that cow is absolutely, you know, like blasphemy. It's a sacred thing. How could you do such a horrible thing and eat a cow? And in other places, eating pigs is considered to be disgusting or, for whatever reason, not okay, you know. So each different culture decides what they would eat. You go, this one's going to eat a chihuahua, and this one is like, that is horrible that you could do that. But the point is that really when you come down to the ultimate truth, you realize that we are all living creatures. It's not acceptable to kill creatures for your consumption because you want to wear their skin, or you want to eat their body, or you want to, you know, force them into pregnancy so that they can lactate, and you can take their mother's milk and do all kinds of stuff with it, or force them to, you know, have more menstruations than they should so you can eat that stuff. It's like, I don't know, it's really, really weird and disturbing to me that this is so normal, that it's so normal to live in that type of world, this type of world, and a person like me is considered, you know, a fringe weirdo, because I'm saying like, hey, you know, like eating fruits and veggies and grains is really healthy for you, and it doesn't harm, and you know, you can still have farms. Like you can have farms all over the world where you have farms now. Like nobody needs to get unemployed, you know. Those animals need to be taken care of, but in a good way where they can live out the rest of their lives without being harmed. So somehow, like, people need to do that, you know. Like there's so much stuff that can be done. All this stuff, this disgusting, the disgusting byproduct, all the excrement and the feces and the death and everything, all that stuff needs to be cleaned up, and just somehow, like, we need to start over. Like, this is not going to sustain us. This is making everybody sick, and it's not acceptable to tolerate cruelty. I don't think so. I think we should be trying to be nonviolent people, and just because you're nonviolent and you don't accept cruelty doesn't mean that you're just this meek little wallflower who never speaks up and says, no, that's wrong, you know. But you also don't need to be this screaming, crazy, shouting, angry vegan, a stereotypical person. It's like they want to try to make us all seem like we're these crazy, fringe, angry people who are militant, kind of like, go vegan, you know. And it's like, it's not about that at all. It's about, I'm hippie, I'm a tree hugger, I'm an earth lover, I am a liberal thinker. I'm someone who believes that gender should be completely unregulated. Basically, like, stop your regulating gender, stop trying to regulate sexuality, and, stop regulating cruelty, stop systematically regulating and habituating this murder and exploitation of innocent creatures who do not deserve to die, to be consumed. And if looking at a picture of a puppy being eaten, it wasn't even real, it's so offensive to you. This is the thing that I wanted to ask. I said, do you find it interesting that a fake picture of an animal being eaten, the puppy in the picture I posted, I shared, I didn't post it originally, is more upsetting to you than an actual dead animal on your plate that you are actually eating? Which one is more offensive or graphic? But because one is a fake puppy, that is too graphic, because that's what you've been taught is acceptable to love and bring into your home, into your family, as a family member who will sleep in your bed with you. But a real carved up pig or a cow, a chicken or a fish is delicious and edible. I just don't follow the logic. Because when you really connect the dots, you see, well, these people think it's okay to eat horses, these people eat dogs, these people eat cats, these people eat fish, these people eat pigs, these people eat cows, but these people don't. When you add it all up, it's like, you know what? A pig is no less, okay, a pig is no more a vegetable than a cow, Fruits and vegetables and grains are living, and that is important, okay? They are alive, living creatures, and they are the source of our food. We should eat healthy, living food sources. And other living beings that need to be killed in order to be consumed, they're not food. Okay, so somewhere along the way, things got really out of whack. I don't know where and why people started to eat meat. The amounts that they did it in probably helped them in extreme situations where they needed some level of protein. But from all the stuff that I have researched and looked at, it seems that most of the humans have lived off of starches and fruits and vegetables, okay, and grains and beans and legumes, and that eating animals has been the minimalist part of anyone's diet. And the more that it's been added and added and added, people are dying and getting obese and all kinds of diseases, and it's just destroying the universe. It's destroying the earth anyway, maybe not the universe. Like, the earth will shake it off and just sort of become the next thing that it becomes, whatever that may be. That sounds very fatalistic and kind of like, but ultimately, like, I don't know when it's going to happen, if it's going to be in my lifetime, if it's going to be in centuries from now. But I just feel that, I don't know, trying to argue to justify habits that include eating, wearing, and being entertained by other living creatures who need to be killed in order for that to be possible. I just don't see how anyone can actually make an argument in support of violence, in support of animal cruelty, in support of the destruction of the earth's resources, and in opposition to peace, in opposition to nonviolence, in opposition to living in harmony with what nature provides for us, in opposition to learning how to grow things. Like, you eat any kind of fruit or vegetable, and when you have the remains of that, when it's rotten or you've used what you can eat, it leaves behind something that can grow more. It is sustainable and regeneratable. But when you kill an animal and you take away its life, it cannot sustain your life, and it does not bring you health, and it does not bring that thing health, and it does not leave you something that can be generated and turned into more life. It just creates destruction and illness and pain and suffering and sadness and anxiety and violence and evil and pain and disease, and it's just cruel, and it's awful, and it's just the most hellish nightmare that you could ever possibly, horror movie stuff, and it's happening right now in real life, and people want to pay to be entertained by horror movies while they refuse to look at what's actually horrible, really, really happening, and they want to like go to the movies and pay like 30, 40 bucks to eat crappy junk food and watch a shitty fucking movie that's like to terrify you, and there's like real true horrors happening to human beings, to animals, to the earth, all over, and yet you'd rather just stuff your face with whatever and fill your mind with these electronic devices that are entertaining your life away while you don't pay attention to the real things that matter. And it's like sex trafficking is a real thing. I just saw something on Facebook about that. Some 13-year-old girl escaped, and, you know, animals are being just destroyed, just totally extinctified. You know, it's like we are just eradicating life on this planet, like at a rapid pace, and people are profiting from it, and others are getting sick and being addicted. And, you know, there are like a million people out there who are not profiting from eating meat, dairy, eggs, fish. They're not necessarily actually profiting. They're just the consumers who are supporting these industries, and these industries are getting richer and richer and richer while depleting everything that is, you know, sacred about nonviolence and respecting life and allowing life to exist without having to try to control it. And, you know, like the book the Lorax talks about, it's like, this is really happening in our real life. And what side are you going to be on? You know, like, are you going to choose to be someone who's going to speak out for nonviolence in everything that you do every day, every bite you take? You can call it zealous, religious, cultishness if you want to, you know, but if eating fruits, plants, and just fruits and veggies and grains and beans and legumes, if that's like some kind of crazy extreme way to live, it's like it's extreme not to want to kill. It's not extreme to do all the stuff that, you know, just Google it. How do you make bacon? How do you make hamburgers? How do you get milk? How do you get fish? How do you get eggs? You know, Google these things. How do you get chickens? How do you get turkeys? Like, how do you get even wool? You know, like honey. These things matter, okay? How do you get these things? And look into it. It's like, are you walking down the aisle and everything is just boxes and processed shit, and you're not paying attention to like how this stuff, you know, you're grabbing packages of meat and you're not paying attention to like where this stuff is coming from. You know, you're so disconnected from what you're eating. You're not even eating real food anymore. You know, it's like, are you walking down and you're seeing fruits and veggies and live fruit, you know, live vegetables, grains, and whole foods that are real, connected to the earth? Or is everything just packages, cans and boxes and frozen things, and you're so disconnected? My kids are home.